Elastic GPU service. In this demo, we learn how EGS can help teams with AI workloads get access to GPUs. We'll also learn how a workload that has a higher priority can request for a reallocation of GPU from an existing workload with a lower priority. For this demo, we imported into EGS a Kubernetes cluster, a single Kubernetes cluster. And once the Kubernetes cluster is imported, it'll automatically detect all the GPU resources available on that cluster. In this case, there is 2 nodes with a GPU each that are part of this cluster. Hence, this becomes part of the inventory that can now be shared between the different teams in an enterprise. For this demo, we created teams that include support, DevOps, production chatbots, Dev AI, analytics, and a CEO chatbot workspace. The CEO chatbot workspace happens to be a very high priority and should be able to preempt and get access to GPUs allocated from lower priority jobs. Currently, the different teams have already queued requests for GPUs for their workloads. And the top 2 prioritized workloads have access to the GPUs currently. And the rest of the AI workloads will stay in pending, queued up for access to GPUs, and based on the priority that they have been assigned. For workloads that are running, you can get full visibility into how the workloads are operating. For example, in this production chatbot workspace, the GPU has been assigned and about 7% of that GPU is being effectively used for this service. Now let's see how we can take the existing GPU allocations and move it to a higher priority job. So for that, we do a couple of steps. Step 1, we get access to the token. So Step 2, we make the GPU request for the CEO workspace with a priority higher than the ones that are operating right now. So in this case, we've asked for a priority of 220. We go change the name of the event to be unique. And then we also change the token to be the one from the previous call to authenticate. All right, there's the request for GPU for the CEO workspace. That is successful. Now let's see if that request for GPU is in the queue. So going back to the EGS, you'll notice that the event that we just created, the request for GPUs for the CEO chatbot, went to the top of the queue because it has a higher priority. And it in fact has a higher priority than the DevOps and the production chatbots. And you will see that in a matter of seconds to up to 2 minutes, so sometimes this process can take up to 2 minutes, the DevOps workspace will lose access to the GPU and it'll get allocated to the CEO chatbot workspace. In the meantime, let me go copy the command to check if the workload running in the CEO workspace is working. So in this workspace, we already have a process running that helps. It's a chatbot that helps convert from English to German. So accessing that endpoint, you can see that it fails because it did not get access to the GPUs yet. Let's give it a minute or 2. So we can see the DevOps workspace lost access to the GPU. And in a short duration, it will get allocated to the CEO chatbot. Let's go see if the service is now available. Not yet. There you go. It looks like the GPU got allocated to the workspace, and now it's able to service the request to that service in that workspace. And going back to the workloads, if I go to production chatbot, you can see that this GPU is still allocated to the production chatbot. And if you go to the chatbot, the second CPU got allocated to the work load in the CEO chatbot. Now let's take a minute to go and look at the observability components of EGS. So it gives you a full visibility of what's happening on the cluster, including the total number of GPUs, the number allocated, number actually being utilized. So you can see that one of the workspace that got access to GPU is using it at 12%. The other one is not effectively utilizing the GPUs. So full tracking of GPU allocation versus usage, including what the temperature of the GPU devices themselves are. In addition to that, also full tracking of costs of running these workspaces. So the total cost for the cluster for all the GPU nodes that are part of the cluster, as well as what is the cost incurred by the individual workspaces, including what was allocated versus what was actually being utilized. So full tracking of the allocations and the utilizations of the GPU in service, and adding additional inventory is as simple as adding more nodes to this existing Kubernetes cluster, or importing another cluster that has access to GPUs. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Allocation.